Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I have another recent reads video wrap up for you all. I've been letting them kind of pile up, the books that I finished, so it's about time I do one so I don't have to talk about too much in one video. All of these have been read in July. I think I might be able to finish a few more before the month ends, but I kind of just want to get some of these books out of the way and then I'll talk about the rest in another video. So let me start with the things that I read that I don't really know how to rate, like on a star rating. I read Supergirl issues 34 to 41, I believe. It's either 34 or 33 to 41, and this is from the 2018-2019 Supergirl post rebirth era. We follow like two kind of arcs. The first one kind of wrapped up, and I want to say a Batman Superman comic. The first like villain that Supergirl faces is like some secret group or people who've been wronged by either Kara or Cal or something, or some perceived wrongness, like a secret group of people. It was okay. I'm kind of like over secret groups of like mercenaries that like have it in for the supers. However, the second villain or the second threat was the Batman Who Laughs, which was like a Batman Joker hybrid from a different Earth, and he like infected a few superheroes. Kara was one of them, and she was kind of like evil and got like this cool redesign for a few issues. I like that one. That one was really fun for me. So I also read Visions of Heat by Nalini Singh. I gave this one like 3 stars. This is an urban fantasy, the second in the Side Changeling series. I talked about this one in a vlog, so you can hear some of those thoughts in that one if you want. The Side Changeling series takes place in a world where there are changelings, which are like shapeshifters. I believe the shapeshifter in this one, the main one, is like a jaguar or something. And then there's Psy, which were much more interesting groups of people. They're like human psychics, and there's different types of psychics. And in this book we follow a 4-seer psychic, an F-Psy, and she can see the future. She's seeing like bad visions, even though she's only meant to have like visions about like business deals and trades and stocks and all that kind of stuff. She's seeing things that she's not supposed to. It's freaking her out. She doesn't want to get sent to rehabilitation, which is just like a bad version of like mind wiping kind of. It's also a romance. I'm conflicted about this one because, and I talked about this in the vlog, but I'm really conflicted because I'm liking where this plot is heading, like the overall plot of this series, but the romance itself was pretty like boring and lackluster to me. I was not feeling it. I thought the first one in book 1 was better. I was just like not interested in the romance, which was a huge part of this book. I don't want to read urban fantasy if I'm not gonna absolutely love it. Also, if you hear heavy breathing, my dog, he's a pug, so he breathes heavily. Anyways, I gave him 3 stars. I don't know, like I'm not gonna never read a Side Changeling again, but I'm not so keen to pick up the next one if I'm not gonna love the romance. So also in that same reading vlog where I talked about Visions of Heat, I read Within These Wicked Walls by Lauren Blackwood. This is a YA gothic horror fantasy set in Ethiopia. It is a Jane Eyre retelling, and we follow a Deptera, which is essentially an exorcist. She finds this opportunity to cleanse this house. The house belongs to this book's version of Rochester. I actually like the majority of this one. I gave it 4 stars. There's some really creepy imagery going on in this one, and I liked it. I don't think it's too scary for people who are like hesitant about horror, but I also just like love horror in general. Nothing really scares me. The only thing that was kind of lackluster for me was the actual, again, the main romance between our main character and Rochester. It wasn't done as well as literally every other relationship that our main character had in the rest of the book. Even like other like antagonist type characters that she meets, I thought those relationships, those like back and forth, were done really well. Just the main one was not it, but I still gave it 4 stars, and I thought it was very entertaining. I listened to an audiobook as well. And in that same vlog where I talked about those past 2 books, I also read Mask of Shadows by Lynsay Miller. I will link the vlog somewhere down below. This is a YA fantasy. I think it's the first book in a duology. We follow a gender fluid main character named Sal. So Sal finds the opportunity to audition to be the Queen's next political assassin. She has a group of 4, and Sal wants to be one of them because a position opened up. And we follow Sal throughout this audition competition thing. I gave this 3 stars, again, talked about it in the vlog, but I had 2 big issues with this one. Mostly this competition aspect had very little structure to it. It was very like flimsy, like just kill your opponents and don't get caught, like good luck, have fun type of thing. I just wanted a bit more structure, maybe some sort of like proper like arena, or just something other than like here's where you're going to be staying, here's your housing, deuces. And then the other thing that I had issue with was very little description of like anything, any kind of world building, which is kind of thrown at you like, here's how it works. I want to even say that all the people who are auditioning in this competition wear masks to cover their face, so I would think that this is a perfect opportunity for the author to kind of expand on literally everything else but what a character looks like visually. Again, very little to nothing. Only at the end, the last 40 pages or so, did we really get some political intrigue, which I thought you would get more of since our main character is auditioning to be a political assassin. Like, I would still be interested in seeing what happens next, but I'd probably borrow an audiobook or an ebook from the library than to get the physical copy. I'm probably gonna get rid of this. The next book I finished is The Body at the Tower by Y.S. Lee. This is the second book in the Agency series. In this series, we follow a young girl named Mary. I think she's like 16 or 17, and when she was really young and an orphan, she was adopted or taken in by these headmistresses at this like boarding school, finishing school type of thing. And as she gets older, she's finally told by these women that this school, boarding school, does also double as a secret agency where women conduct espionage. This is the second book, so it's like her second mission. I was not in this for the mystery so much, but I will say that the mystery started wrapping up like 100 pages before the book ended, which I thought was like a good, like, pacing wise for me. I personally don't always love when mysteries wrap up 30 pages before the book ends. I like a kind of like coming together of plot and stuff. However, I am surprised at how much I'm drawn to this YA romance, because it's a YA romance, you know, not always the top of my love list, if you will, but it's a very like kind of bickering, not so much like enemies, but just very like annoyances, I guess. So I love the scenes that Mary has with this love interest that I'm assuming we're going to see throughout the 4-book series. I think I'm going to have a vlog talking about a few mysteries, but I mentioned how I like in these series where the YA main character doesn't immediately like fall in love the first moment that they see their love interests, let them grow their feelings, that kind of thing. I personally like that. Not to say that teenagers like don't immediately feel very insta-lovey to like the first person that shows interest in them or anything like that. They do. I just personally like the slower build. I also read The Death of Mrs Westaway by Ruth Ware. I've been meaning to read Ruth Ware for quite some time. I think I would give this like a 3.5-ish star rating. There's nothing terrible about this book. I think everything was done fine, but there was nothing groundbreaking or like genre shattering in this particular book, which I think most people go into Ruth Ware expecting. I've only read one of her books, but I've pretty much heard of similar critiques across the board for some of her books. In this book, we follow our main character Hal, who's very poor, has a lot of bills stacking up. I believe there's some sort of like loan sharks who are like on her butt to like pay off some loans. And she gets a letter from an estate lawyer contacting her, telling her that one of her grandmothers has passed away and is leaving her some inheritance. Hal is convinced that this letter wrongly made it to her, but she's still going to take this opportunity to get a little bit of money and use that to pay off some debts. She's not expecting much. She doesn't know who this Mrs. Westaway is. It has like a kind of creepy estate mansion gothic setting. I thought this was going to be more thriller instead of mystery in this mystery thriller. The beginning was kind of low-key uncomfortableness, awkward family moments, that kind of thing. And then towards the end, we finally got a little bit of a mystery, a little bit of thrills. I did like the story overall, and it's a very like we've seen this premise before. Someone's like gets contacted by their long lost relative and like creepy stuff happens. I think if I go into every Ruth Ware kind of expecting like averageness, I'll be okay. However, I do think this book stands out just a little bit because our main character reads tarot cards, and her relationship with like reading tarot and like the belief of tarot. I liked it. I don't see that a lot. And the last book I want to talk about before I wrap this recent reads up is To Marry a Scottish Laird by Lynsay Sands. This is the second book in the Highland Bride series. I believe she also has a few other like Highland Scottish Laird type series, but I think this is the second one in the series that I started a few months ago. In this book, we follow a young woman who is the daughter of a healer somewhere in England. She's not Scottish, and her mother passes away and like asks our main character to go deliver a letter to a woman who's married to the Scottish Laird. Before this journey, she disguises herself as a young man, and while she's on this journey, she gets like accosted by some thieves. They start beating her up, and that's when our love interest comes into the picture and rescues her, not knowing that it's actually a woman. And then they go on this journey back to Scotland to deliver this letter. So this book does have a trope that I really enjoy, but I don't want to spoil the plot by telling you what that trope is, but just know that I enjoyed this type of trope. So what I really like about Lynsay Sands, I didn't have like the best start with her, but what I found out that I really like about her is that there really isn't a huge like miscommunication for the most part in her stories, and that is a huge part of like the third act breakup or the huge tension between the couple. Like usually when the book starts out, that's when we kind of get like, does he like me, does she like me, like are we like meant to be together, that kind of like internal turmoil between the two of them. But Lynsay Sands usually like in the third act does introduce like some sort of outside antagonist for the couple. It's, from what I've seen, it's very rarely like these two people just like couldn't get along for the third act and then they break up and then they come back together again. That's not really what I've seen so far with Lynsay Sands, so that's what I appreciate about her work. The third act breakup that's dependent on miscommunication is not the vibe for me, and it's I know it's not the vibe for everyone else, so that's what I really appreciate about her books. Also, the like hook that kind of gets the couple together, I always enjoy them. Even in books that I've not been like happy about or not been super enthusiastic about, how the couple comes together, like someone's pretending to be someone else, XYZ, whatever, I always really like them. For me, she's a really good like historical romance writer, author. For me, I really enjoy her books. These are the like audiobooks for me to listen to while I do chores, that kind of thing. I give this one like a 3.54 star rating. So those are the books that I wanted to talk about for this recent reads. I kind of sped through them because some of them I've already talked about in a vlog, and the other ones I will talk about in another vlog. So feel free to talk to me in the comments down below about anything I talked about. Have you read any of these books? Are you interested in reading any of these books? I'd like to hear anything you have to say down below. I will also link my social medias as well, some far more important links down below. Feel free to like, dislike, comment, or subscribe, or do neither. It's all cool with me. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out.